Making a well overdue appearance is Momo, aren't you? How are you, my little grey child? Yeah, who's a slut for chin rubs? I'm a slut for chin rubs. So today we're going to be talking about a whiskey, and I've been getting over a cold for the past 2 weeks, which is why I sound really fucking sexy right now. Not gonna lie, it is really nice to have a voice that accurately reflects how good I am in bed for a change, so I'm gonna kind of take it. Also, I have been running the washing machine. It is currently 4 in the morning. I'm just really far behind with life admin, so if you hear a spinning noise every once in a while, or my neighbours cursing my name because it's 4 in the morning, that's why. But today, we're going to be talking about this. This is Glencadam 10. And I don't know how the fuck it's taken me this long to get around to this either, to be honest, because this, it's not quite the same levels as Aaron, but it's been catching a fair few people's attention, and for what I'm told, good reason. Full disclosure, I've never actually tried this stuff before because it's never quite. There is a lot to try out there. There is a lot that everybody says, oh, you need to give this a go, you need to give that a go, and then there's new releases, and then there's FOMO, and then before you know it, you're just kind of like in a quagmire of all sorts of stuff. And there's just some stuff that kind of slips by. Like, I've never been to bed with a woman, just never got round to it. So many people on the internet and in real life as well have said many nice things about this. Roy over at Aquavitae described it as one of his hero whiskies, and just last month, Phil over at First Phil Whisky, and if you're not watching that, what the fuck are you playing at? Had some wonderful things to say about this, and he basically just gave it a glowing review, essentially. It was also towards the end of the video that I was like, he's actually done a review here, because it's not his normal style. But he's also very good at reviews, turns out. If he could be bad at something and give the rest of us a shout, then, that would be great. But hey, maybe the rest of us just need to retire and leave it to him, because he's just nailing it. But yeah, he was suitably impressed. I'm still not well. Also, it's 4 in the morning, can you tell? So here's a mini. I'm going to put this in a glass. Some details about this one. The distillery is owned by Angus Dundee, of whose portfolio we have covered before, fairly recently actually. Does the name Old Ballantrae mean anything to you? And we're going to be having some more of their stuff coming up because a friend of mine recently got a job with them, and he also frequents the whiskey bar that I'm currently running, and he dropped off some samples because I said I really like the Old Ballantrae, and he was like, here, have some more. And I was like, thank you very much for that. I shall drink these gladly. But for today, we're dealing with this, the Glencadam, because it's been on the shelf for a while. And I feel like I've been neglecting it. Now then, why have I put it in a green glass? Well, it indicates that it is a natural colour. So, because we don't really need to worry about the colour, I suppose. I mean, the colour is the colour. The colour is the colour of the wood. So, we don't necessarily need to concern ourselves too much with the colour. We know it is natural colour. If this was a Dalmore, we could point and laugh at it, but it's not. So we're going to be having some green whiskey today, which I think might actually be prophetic for this whiskey, because from what I'm told, it has quite a fruity green character to it, which are not normally my favourite kind of whiskies, but we shall see. Even through the lurgy, there is this wonderful kind of like, if Shreddies made a pear flavour, that's kind of what I'm getting. I'm getting pear Shreddies. Super malty, there's apples and pears. Think of a freshly baked, Jesus, that is really appley actually. Sweet Jesus, that's perfumed apple and a little bit of rose water in there as well. There's something a bit floral about it. Hint sweet, but really not much. A wonderful kind of like essence of golden syrup, tiny bit vanilla-y, beautiful barley cereal notes, apples and pears. So we're off to a flying start. I'm curious to see what it tastes like. Oh, I should probably say as well, 46% natural colour, non-chill filtered. I quite like the design on it, but then I'm absolutely fine if it just has a sticker with biro on it saying what it is and some of the basic details. So I'm pretty easy to please when it comes to the design side of things. If anything, I quite like the design, like the sort of quirky, slightly shitty looking designs. Kinenvi really suckered me in a couple of years ago with their deliberately shite looking designs. So I'm maybe not the best person to talk to when it comes to bottle design, because I kind of like the crappy looking stuff. It's beautifully fruity. Stewed apples, plums, toasted oats, a little bit of brown sugar. It's a tickle spicy. It's quite spirit forward. I believe that the Glencadam is all bourbon cask, so it's not hiding behind like port pipes or sauterne finishes or anything like that. So it's just standing on its own credentials. And what we are met with initially is actually really fucking delightful, I'm not gonna lie. It's got a fascinating flavour. It's very distinctive, actually. Sometimes with fruity malts, they can be a little bit samey and muddy and just kind of goes down the sort of pear drops kind of a line. But with this, it's not the case. It has this beautiful sort of bright yet tart apple. It's kind of like you took a bite out of a pink lady. And then you mix that in with a little bit of shop-bought granola. So there's like oats, sugar, maybe a little raisin in there as well. Peaches, apples, plums, pears. It tastes autumnal. And there is this wonderful, slightly subdued honey. It's not sweet exactly, but it has that kind of honey essence to it that just gives it kind of like a roundness. It does mean that it's not overtly sweet. It's got a lovely cereal complexity. It's quite malt forward, and it's very fruity. I get it. I get why people are saying this is a fantastic star for 10. Pun intended. I'm embarrassed it's taken me this long to get around to this. And I feel sorry for myself that it's taken me this long to get, because that is fucking delightful. I feel like I've been missing out. I think that's the best way that I can describe this. I feel like I've been missing out. God, I sound sexy. But yeah, oh, that's delightful. I'm going to go in for a bit more. Do you know what? Screw it. Also, one other thing, I'm not going to add any water to this, because I actually don't think it needs it. Maybe that's just a signal that I've just worked 2 rugby weekends on the trot, and I need a fucking drink. But it could also be a signal that it's just a beautifully made malt, and that it's not necessary to do it. I'm sure it would do some wonderful things, but do you know what? I don't want to. That's the thing about the initial meeting with this one. I don't want to add water because I feel like it's just kind of nailed it straight out the gate. And I don't feel like it needs anything to open it up or add anything to it. I'm worried, if anything, I'm going to reduce it. Because what you get on the initial presentation is just kind of sort of perfect. And that's really not a word I use very often. And I've had some belters on this channel at this point. But again, I'm reluctant to say it is perfect, but it's not far off. And also, given that this really does not tick the normal boxes in my personal likes and dislikes Venn diagram, it doesn't kind of tickle what I personally go for. The fact that it's made this kind of an impression, I think, says a lot. It has this beautiful baked crumble signature to it. It's bizarrely comforting, but it's fresh, it's inviting. It's absolutely not the kind of like strangle you sort of spirit hold, despite the fact that it's stronger than some whiskies that do have that kind of very sort of acetone note that you sometimes get from rushed spirit. This is not that. This is something that has clearly had some time taken over it. They've been quite selective over their casks and how they make it. And you can tell that because, even though I don't know how they make it, well, I mean, you know, to a degree I do. You know, most whiskey follows pretty much the same path, but there's variances therein. You can tell they've taken some care over it, if that makes sense. Those will be in the scorecard linked down below. I trust it's going to be promising. I'm going to wrap that up now. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this, please do thumb the video, subscribe to the channel, nearly at 2K, which is terrifying. And if you feel like supporting the channel, there'll be links to join the channel as a member or become a patron, and there are perks associated therein. And there'll be more details about that in the links down below. For now, though, thank you very much for watching, and do join me next time, where I'll be drinking something else.